Sounds good.
All right, we are live currently. Welcome everybody to the Crypto Cave podcast. This is podcast number 6. I'm joined by Phil, my colleague from Crypto Caverns, and Geoffrey from G&G Holdings. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself, Geoffrey?
Hi, everyone. I just wanted to give a little rundown about myself. G&G Holdings was founded a little over 2 years ago. Partnered with my father originally prior to his passing. Established ourselves in cybersecurity previously, real estate background, and cryptocurrency enthusiast. I was a former professional gamer and a very heavy advocate for Bitcoin as well as the supply because of macroeconomics.
All right, thank you. And you're also distributor of, you're also involved in LoyalTech, right?
Yeah, my company took a special interest in excuse me, with LoyalTech's future and their disruptive technology. We met at the Miners Disrupt and we hit it off. And I also do a speech there to an audience of over 300 people, and it worked very well. Company's vision and the projections that I see are very, how do we say, the progression in the company as well as other manufacturers is unparalleled. And I'm very proud to be representing them as the United States General Manager as well as Central America and leading their path for the next generation FPGA development.
Yeah. So for the people who don't know this, LoyalTech actually makes FPGAs for Ethereum mining. Do they make other machines as well?
Currently, we're in the process of actually developing another next generation unit. I would be breaking my contract if I disclose the actual procurement.
All right, looking forward to see that in the future.
Mhm.
So yeah, let's talk about markets for a bit. Phil, you sent me some charts. Let's switch
Yeah,
over to those.
yeah. I actually have some stuff this week.
All right.
Uh,
So
let's see. So we've had a bit of a bump up in the majors, right? Ethereum, Bitcoin, and they're kind of chilling out. And sometimes when this happens, we get a bump up in the altcoin markets, right? So of course, this is not financial advice. These are just for fun and full disclosure. I am in all of these. The first one I have here is YDF. Um, this one is just a nicely polished stake and earn, sort of passive income, earn APR. There's not really any utility to it. But if you'll notice from the chart, it's barely 2 days old.
You have to be very
So
careful
given,
with those investments.
oh yeah, this is the highest risk, obviously, but given at least how much effort they put into their social media already and their websites, I'm gonna go with this one. I do like to buy early things sometimes. Um, the
yeah,
next one, oh, go ahead.
I just wanted to say it once more. We don't do any investment advice.
Oh yeah,
Please do your own research and stuff like that. This is not any financial advice. But go ahead, Phil.
yeah. This is just me going over my gambling picks. The next one up, Jacob, is SWISE. This one is sort of a Ethereum node staking similar to Lido, but probably much less legitimate. No shade to the SWISE team if they're out there. But yeah, I think this one may have outsized gains relative to maybe other Ethereum staking projects, which are all probably going to do fairly well into this merge narrative.
Depending on how long their project has been around. Pay attention
Yeah,
to.
and this one I'm just in purely on noise actually that just heard around. The next one I've actually been bag holding this looks rare bag forever. I'm still looks rare maxi. I mean, NFTs are the biggest gas guzzler on Ethereum. That's mostly OpenSea. Of course, they're still easily number one, but you can't own any of OpenSea. And when, if ever, they have problems, looks rare is right there. Very good with their marketing. And reward sharing. And yeah, I guess I'm just a true believer in this one. So, but the chart is flat, and I like flat charts.
May I ask you a question, Bill? What are your thoughts when it comes to proof of work and the proof of stake hard fork that's soon to come? Bullish?
There's kind of so I mean, just based on market terms alone and what they're doing to their tokenomics, I'm extremely bullish on Ethereum. I wouldn't say that being proof of stake makes me bullish at all. Maybe even quite the opposite for a longer term thing. But the but the combination of EIP 1559 that's been burning Ethereum rather than giving it to the miners for a full year now, and which when the price goes up and the chain gets active, that's a lot more burned Ethereum, right? So I view this as exacerbatory.
Yes.
So that combined with, I know we've got these projects that are getting Ethereum out, but they will eventually figure out that unlock. I kind of think that'll be the next top. But yeah, I think if there's ever to be a cycle where Ethereum gets its flippening over Bitcoin, even if temporarily, this is probably going to be it. Just my 2 cents. So yeah, though I'm not really a fan of proof of stake generally, or for the long term. I mean, it's kind of got a place, but
that's the nature of the coin to differentiate from Bitcoin.
Yeah,
so
well,
that's their strong suit.
I kind of thought
platforms are built on them.
I do think the decentralization that Ethereum's proof of work had was a little bit superior to Bitcoin's. I know there's some full node overhead comes with it, so it maybe hurts that a bit. But GPU mining,
security tokens on.
Yeah. But GPU mining was certainly more distributed and decentralized than ASIC mining, and we're getting rid of it. So
it's a hot phase. It's a great hash rate migration. We like to call that.
So it'll be interesting to see which one of these. There's already a fork like in the works by some large Chinese miners, I think. Add a link to that. SPAL is what they're calling it. But I mean, I kind of think Ethereum Classic is a little more well established already. There's already like a bridge there.
Yes.
It's been operating on its own for quite a while, so I mean, might as well.
Yeah, I think ETH Classic is has been established for quite some time. They're pretty strong. They they have their I think yearly consensus meeting and stuff like that. And I think
transparent.
They're pretty transparent about that. Yeah, a lot more transparent, I think, than the ETH Foundation.
Than other projects.
Yeah. So
I'm just remembering from earlier Bitcoin days. If I receive any fork Ethereum, I'm dumping it. Like there'll probably be more than one project, but just like Bitcoin forks, dump them.
Yeah, basically that's the thing. If they're gonna fork Ethereum, we've got some free Ethereum on those chains, and usually forks don't last that long. You've seen it with all these Bitcoin spin-offs at the beginning of 2016. I think they had like Super Bitcoin and Bitcoin Zero, Bitcoin whatever.
BSV. Bitcoin Cash, the hard fork.
Bitcoin Cash. I mean, Bitcoin Cash is still there though. Most of the smaller forks only hung around for 2 weeks,
very
and then they crashed.
Kapooey. Yep.
All right, let's check out the next chart.
What are we on? Any, right?
We have
I think I
any.
posted.
Yeah, any.
Yeah, this is the wrong one because they've actually switched to multi now. This is formerly AnySwap, now multi-chain the bridge. They've introduced new lockup tokenomics, and the tokens earn revenue share right from the bridge, which this is one of the most popular bridges, and infrastructure, in my opinion, is generally good investment relative to other projects, perhaps. And again, I like flat charts, and there we are. The next one I have down, let's see, how many more do I have? I've got 3 more here.
Yeah, the next one is Cap.
Oh, is it? I had a Metis in there as a layer 2 on Ethereum. And then Cap is also flat, which is where I like to trade. So you get a bit of revenue sharing there too, though that's a really, really low liquidity pool, Cap.
Is that Cap.finance or?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I've been a fan of Cap.finance. I like their trading system. Oh yeah, we have Metis as well. I just pulled up the chart, so if you want to tell something about that, go ahead.
Metis is a zero knowledge platform, layer 2 for Ethereum. It's got its own token. It's really low market cap for a layer 2, in my opinion. I think it's got supply similar. Like there's a supply in the millions, right? Like similar to Bitcoin. And they've just, I think they finished their last unlock recently. Do your own research on that one if there's any more unlocks in the supply. But yeah, that one. There's a few ecosystems, and this will play into the next one that really didn't get to play last cycle, right? Like last cycle in DeFi, we kind of hopped around from ecosystem to ecosystem. Binance Chain, Matic, AVAX, Harmony, etc. And they all kind of played out the same way, and in whatever order. But Metis hadn't really had a turn yet because it kind of came late to the game. We have optimism on that too, but I don't have a chart for that. And also Ethereum Classic is the last chart. Ethereum Classic didn't have a bridge last cycle, and they've since built one. It's EVM compatible, just like the rest of these. So yeah, fresh playground.
Yeah, I'm kind of excited to see what's going to happen, because we've been ETH miners for a long time now. I think we started mining ETH back in 2016, and obviously we've been hearing about the fork coming up for so long that we kind of gotten sick of it, to be quite frankly. For the last year, we've just been saying, just get it over with, because, what the funny thing is, everybody keeps saying that GPU mining is dead, but,
Far from it.
Yeah, I think it's just beginning, it's going to bring some new markets around, and there's going to be some new innovations in coins as well that will utilize proof of work to decentralize their tokenomics. So I'm actually very excited for the merge because, I don't like to be held back by people saying, yeah, but the merge is happening. What are you going to do afterwards, And
they'll be here.
Yeah, we will still be here. Yeah, we will still be here after the merge happens. Don't worry. We'll be around. You'll be seeing us next year. And the years afterwards as well. So yeah. All right. Let's see. I lost my window where we are in. Oh, here we are. Yeah, I also figured that because I can't see someone who's joined us as well, that I forgot to introduce him. We're also joined by Cameron. He's also part of G&G Holdings. I'm afraid his...
CTO.
I'm afraid his webcam didn't work, so we couldn't have him join in the call so that you guys could see him. But if you hear us talking to someone else, that's Cameron. So yeah, thank you for joining us, Cameron.
Of course, no problem. In regards to that, as the CTO for G&G Holdings, I've got a multi-year experience in cybersecurity, worked for many defense companies and worked on many specialist projects. I've also helped out the community in cryptocurrency. Actually was one of the first people to work for overseas for Goldshell at the time, when they were up and coming. And I've also got good connections with pretty much most of the manufacturers out over in China. So it's something that I've always had an interest in. And I did want to say something earlier with the Ethereum Classic that unfortunately at the moment it's been delisted on many exchanges due to the fact that it had a 51% attack over 3 times now. So hopefully with the new sort of GPU miners being brought over and a lot of people using their ASICs, that we'll finally get to a point where all the hash rate can't be bought. And in which case Ethereum Classic could potentially start moving up in the charts.
Yeah, I think that's basically what their biggest weakness was the potential of a 51% attack, and it actually happening for a couple of times. And, you know, bringing new hash power to ETH Classic will actually bring it more stability. I totally agree with that. All right, I think we had some news articles as well. Let me see if I can bring them up. So we had, yeah, this one was pretty interesting. The FBI actually added, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing her name correctly, Ruja Ignatova to the top 10 most wanted. She was one of the founders of OneCoin. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Yes, I do.
OneCoin.
That,
The project was also called Bitcoin beforehand. She was involved in that, and then she went and retook all the materials and created the OneCoin, which is very similar around the time of BitConnect.
And everyone needs to also know that she tries to promote that coin as a Bitcoin killer.
yeah. She tried to sell it off as a Bitcoin
Manipulated her
killer.
audience.
Yeah.
If I remember, OneCoin wasn't even actually a blockchain. It was just a website. You know, like a standard Ponzi of your
Ponzi scheme.
your grandpa days or something. back in the 90s websites or something.
Yeah, that's very interesting to be able to set off one of those Ponzi's where you don't even make a blockchain. I mean, I think even nowadays they just copy and paste. They just copy and paste existing blockchains and call it their own. But back in 2017, you had people, just promoting blockchains that weren't even there. So that's quite interesting to me. Did any of you guys ever get scammed or rug pulled?
Thank God, no. We're both in cybersecurity, myself and Cameron. We've always had a sixth sense when it smells too good to be true. It's usually trash.
I mean, I've been rug pulled a couple of times, but obviously it was with my play money. So I sometimes bought into coins where I actually knew that it was a bit shady, but I was like, oh, I could just ride a little bit of the wave and then, sell it off. It was just play money. But yeah, I think I've been rug pulled quite a lot of times, especially last year. Not this year, but last year. But, it's part of the game. And when it's play money, it's basically just gambling, so.
Especially in the NFT space, there's been a lot of celebrities that have been doing rug pull schemes, and they're getting prosecuted now because what always is in the dark will come to the light.
Yeah.
For example, Jake Paul, as well as other people, like Andrew Milanakis, or Andy Milanakis.
Oh,
child comedian, if you guys remember.
I don't think he was a child comedian. I think he just had some disease where he was because he's always been small, right?
No, Andy Milanakis was a child star for MTV.
I think he was already a lot older when he had that show, but he just
Really?
I think he has a disease which keeps him small.
Quite interesting.
Also, in his Korea streams, people often call him ma'am instead of because they can't really see they're not familiar with him. So yeah, our next news article is I think Vitalik said that Facebook's metaverse will misfire. What do you think about Facebook's metaverse?
In my opinion, they're rushing the project too fast. They're trying to entice their investors that are already institutional investors to be involved. After seeing NFT New York, there was a lot of promotion as well pertaining towards their project development as well. And personally, they're moving too fast, moving way too fast. And the integrations that they're going to have, there's going to be potential collapses,
I think we're going too
especially after
fast
their
and
mass layoffs.
yeah. I think we're going too fast in the metaverse on its own, you know. People are pumping so much money into this, and obviously in the end there's only going to be a couple of players that will succeed, I think. But you know, there
I
are
agree.
so many projects that want to dip their toes in the water there and just want to get either funding or you know, they actually believe in something that in the end they probably can't, you know, make happen, but we'll see.
Yeah, it's a buzzword. It's a buzzword cash grab, right? And it almost seems like they're trying to get in first as the first big Web 2 company, and that they're going to come in and kind of like set the standards for the game or something. But I don't really think the blockchain people will be very receptive to that.
That's true.
And yeah, so I think it might be a big gamble for them.
Yeah, I was going to say, upon that news, did you see the study that they did where they put, I think it was 30 odd people in VR for a week or so to test to see what the ability would have upon the actual body? And they noted over time that people felt a lot calmer in the metaverse. So that perhaps could be a selling point. Although, out of all the companies to perhaps get theirs up and running first, you know, Facebook would be a safe bet. They've got too much money to not get it up and running at the end of the day.
I agree with you, but the one discrepancy is after the mass layoffs that Mr. Zuckerberg actually did, it also potentially could cripple his company's growth.
I mean, it's tough. You see a lot of companies trying to do whatever it takes to get into the new space, but sometimes they lose focus on their main projects by that as well. And you know,
Spread themselves thin.
yeah. But I think as well, I mean, there is a lot of potential in the metaverse. I was just talking to one of my friends that I haven't spoke to in a long time, and I was like, "Hey, what are you doing? What's going on?" And he told me that he was playing Final Fantasy 14 for a long time, and that he basically lost a year of his life just by playing some role playing in that game. So you know, the potential is it is there. You know, people will actually you know, there's a lot of people who already have a bigger life in games than they have in real life, and I think
People become infatuated.
it's going to be part of our society. I mean, probably more rather than later, more sooner than later. It's going to be part of our lives, and yeah, I think we, you know, people will obviously go outside even less. Um,
You can see it in esports now that there's NBA owners actually stepping in, buying professional teams.
yeah,
Once I exited out of the scene, it was not any small owners anymore. It was actually big multi-million dollar investors just taking chunks of esports. They see the
yeah,
future.
yeah. And what a lot of our viewers probably also don't know is that you were actually a pro gamer once, right?
For over 10 years, I was a Call of Duty professional gamer. Yeah, so I played on, I started when I was 14, progressed until I was about 22, and then college caught up to me and I could not, sleep and then come back and game and do all that stuff. You spread yourself thin, and education means a lot. And if you're gonna, blow with the wind and not take your education serious, you shouldn't even really be in a university,
Yeah,
in
yeah.
my opinion.
And what's more exhausting? Is it professional gaming or if it is it crypto, professional crypto?
Professional gaming was you had to deal with the personas and dealing with four other teammates at the time until they downsized it back to 4-on-4. At one point, it was 5-on-5, and it was just too much having to deal with a lot of masculinity and having to put on a face with people.
Oh yeah, so there's a lot of testosterone around, and they're just obviously you're all still young as well, so that just doesn't makes it probably a lot harder to be very professional in that.
Especially if you're the captain, you have to delegate all the drama, unfortunately. And that's how I had to do it. I was the leader of most of my teams because I was the youngest. A lot of people didn't give respect, but respect is earned. Actions speak louder than words, my friend.
Yeah, that's very important. All right, let's check out the next news article that we have, which is actually, we were already talking about that for a bit. I think, Phil, can you talk us through this?
Sure. So a large miner named Chandler Guo, I think I'm saying that right, is forking Ethereum. I've not really looked into the details of how he plans to do it, because I think maybe a lot of people might be mistaken on how the merge is going to happen, and that there's just going to be this day where they snap their fingers and all the miners are just gone. But the transition is going to happen through the Ice Age mechanism, of the difficulty bomb. So what's going to happen is the difficulty for the miners is just going to get higher and higher and higher, and the block time is getting slower and slower. But yeah, the profitability goes down. And meanwhile, the proof of stake blocks begin to show up, and they'll both be compatible, right? So the merge is going to be kind of a slow, long process here, and then eventually, as the difficulty just keeps raising, no one will bother attempting to find an Ethereum proof of work block, even though technically it might always be valid. I don't think see something later to really lock them out. But I mean, if somebody really wanted to spend a lot of time finding an Ethereum proof of work block post merge, they can do it. So either way, I guess he's going to have to, make a fork where he moves that Ice Age or just removes it entirely or something to make the chains incompatible to actually achieve the fork. And this is just kind of a news post, so it doesn't really go into that. But so yeah, I mean, he'll do this. I'm sure probably some other people might attempt it too. And yeah, I don't plan on keeping any of them personally.
Yeah, what I think is also interesting is what you said, is a lot of people think that proof of work will just stop working on Ethereum, and that's obviously not the case, as we said before. What I also hear a lot about is people not actually knowing that their staked ETH isn't going to be unlocked as soon as the merge happens, which is an idea. Yeah,
there's no plan for that.
Oh, is it a 3-year lockup? Did they announce that? 2-year.
2-year lockup.
Okay.
Yep.
So that's very interesting. A lot of people think that they will actually get their staked ETH as soon as the merge happens, but they're gonna,
They need to be more transparent. Besides just having articles, they need to be posting videos for the newer investors, especially.
Yeah.
It changes quick. Move fast and break things is the way to do it in production, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. You see, I mean, that's what's been bothering me about the merge as well. It's a lack of transparency. They're having so many issues for so long now that it kind of takes their credibility away, and I don't think that's good for the ETH Foundation, and it's not good for Vitalik as well. But I don't know. We're just gonna see, I guess.
Cameron, anything you would like to fill in?
Well, in regards to the merging of the Ethereum blockchain and the proof of stake nodes actually becoming more profitable, the interesting fact is that at least exchanges are still offering people the opportunity to be able to exchange their Ethereum 2 to the Ethereum 1 and actually be able to sell them for liquidity. So a lot of this is, well, at the moment, exchanges are taking sort of the hit by acknowledging the fact that people can still sell it. Whereas,
especially the lending protocols.
Yeah, I'm glad that that's the case, because otherwise, people would have committed to 2 years again, not ever would suggest the price would drop to zero, but if it dropped to say 10% of what it is now, you can imagine how much people could possibly lose as well. So at least there's some kind of ability to exchange it. The people which originally put up the 32 ETH, I really hope that, it continues to grow and doesn't go the opposite way, because otherwise those people who started the nodes have lost a lot.
Yeah, and I think the biggest issue as well is as soon as the lockup period gets ended, I mean, we're obviously going to see a huge dip in people selling off their staked coins. I'm really not happy about that, because that's gonna, basically, it could cripple the system, I think.
Well, there's these
Very high
projects
possibility.
like Lido and others, like the exchange is doing it right. They're letting people get their liquidity out from the lockup, but what that's doing is the centralization happening in real time, right? They are already asking Lido not to accept, more than I think they're asking more than 40-something% of the Ethereum, right? Because they're the biggest, most popular one, and they've already got a huge amount of the locked Ethereum. And the thing is with these disaster scenarios that Bitcoiners always predict, right? Bitcoiners have been predicting doom in these other blockchains since they come out, right? Since their white papers. And they're almost always right. All the disasters that they predict usually happen. What happens afterwards, where the Bitcoiners get it wrong, is that everyone will see that disaster and stop using the chain, and that's not the case. IOTA and other chains, they have the problem and then they fix it. But of course, that just shows everybody that, here's a development team that has pretty centralized control over this ecosystem. And so if that wasn't already readily apparent, it will certainly become more apparent if any problems arise, which we already seem to be well on our way to that. But regardless, it'll probably be a fun ride.
Yeah, and talking about those big stakers, it just it's not very good for the decentralization of the network if they have so much of the staked ETH and stuff like that. But giving institutions your money in crypto is often not a very wise move. Just as
Means not to crypto.
Yeah. Just as this Forbes article says, Celsius is basically going bankrupt, and it could leave the customers last in line to get their coins back, and that'll make so many people lose faith in crypto. It's actually just crippling for crypto. It's bad for crypto. These big companies just
not your keys, not your coins.
And then they were also possibly getting prosecuted for market manipulation. Yep, market manipulation with their own customers' assets. And then you see Voyager as well just got granted $300 million to give clients pieces of their lost assets. Think about the end client.
And then they want to come in with regulation like nobody needs custodial wallets, right? Or you should be keeping your assets in one of these institutions. Right? This technology was invented to prevent this exact thing. And I guess humans just can't help themselves sometimes.
I mean, yes, Satoshi made Bitcoin. The first signed Bitcoin transaction, or I think the Genesis block, it has it signed, right? Where the banks were bailed out in 2009, right?
Yeah.
And right now
second bailout for banks.
Yeah. Right now these crypto banks, basically what they are, they're just crypto banks.
And they're not FDIC insured.
Yeah, that's
only
true.
Coinbase is.
And it wouldn't even matter at this point with this size, and it wouldn't be seen as a bank anyways. It'd be more like an investment vehicle or a mutual fund or something like that.
Yeah, but it's just sad to see that they need bailouts as well. Crypto wasn't built for that, I think.
Yep, I completely agree with that.
We've reinvented it in DeFi,
diversify their portfolio on this. So at the end of the day, a lot of institutional investors that don't have conviction in this project, they're walking away, and that's why there's a lot of bailouts and people taking advantage of lending protocols, leading to Celsius as well as Three Arrows collapse. Correct? Yep.
Yeah, yeah. Talking about sketchy stuff going on. I saw this article. Helium said that its network was that its mesh network was being used by Lime and Salesforce, but Lime and Salesforce basically didn't know of that. Lime did do some testing on the Helium network, but they got out back in 2019, I think, and yeah, so they've been holding the Salesforce and Lime company logos up on their website for quite some times, but
isn't this the crypto way, right? Like we printed our flyers, out, so that means we get to put Hewlett Packard on our website.
oh yeah, we
Right.
went to Staples to print our flyers, so they're our
Yeah.
partner now. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you see this a lot in the space where you just see
There's
a
little
bunch of
transparency and people taking advantage of people,
yeah.
like squeezing a sponge until people are dry.
Yeah. It
That's
would be
not a
nice to see
reputation that we need.
this practice come to an end, though, if a little bit of sunlight gets
So
shown
full
on it.
transparency to all people watching. Project coins are also still very volatile, and if you have conviction, do it in the actual strong coins.
I mean,
Lending protocols as well as Luna will have collapsed. We can go into that in detail if you want.
you also forget that HNT, how long it takes for miners to actually be released. I mean, there's still people over on a 2-year wait queue to get theirs. And never mind the fact that, it's becoming less and less and less profitable. And these companies, some Chinese manufacturers have taken it up front and has kept their people's money for 2 years. In
Yeah,
crypto.
yeah, and I think the hard part is as well is it's basically you see that a lot in crypto that companies, especially companies that build mining machines, they sometimes just take the machines of the customers and mine for themselves for quite some times before they send it over. And I'm not saying that's happened here because it's obviously just a little bit of speculation. So don't pin me on that. But
I wouldn't know about HNT, but I do know that there's a couple of big Chinese manufacturers that practice is very normal.
Unfortunately,
Are we allowed to say whom? I'm not
let's
breaking any contract.
Maybe
let's not go there.
Okay.
We're small enough for probably no one to notice, but we'd rather keep everybody a friend here. But yeah, there's some big names out there that are that have been accused of that in the past, and there's been substantial evidence that it was actually the case. Yeah. So
even with the, I have a helium miner, right? And even with the profits being as far down as they are, it's a very low power device. So and I've not done the math, but I would even imagine that some of my miners have had thinner margins. Of course, I can have lots of them, whereas I've only got the one helium miner. I think that's all you really get paid for, because of the proof of coverage or something. But yeah, I mean, it's not making anything, but it's also not costing me very much. So
yeah.
The issue with mining longer term is the fact that you have the hikes in all other costs related to the machines. Because as soon as Bitcoin's down, the machines are cheaper. That's great for us miners. But at the same time, just the operational and running costs is something that's going to continuously go upwards unless you've got something, sustainable at the end of the day. And that's where a lot of home miners are going to struggle, because the fact that they won't be able to even make a profit.
Yeah, I mean, if my miner breaks in the next couple of years, then I certainly would have not made my money back. So I guess it's really all in the longevity of this device. If it lasts for 10, I'm not doing so bad.
It is, but it's also the fact that it's, your operational costs are more expensive. So home miners are not going to be involved. Less people are purchasing units. Manufacturers are going to start putting the price up. And it's this really awful cycle. So either we need to see Bitcoin and other coins making a move upwards heavily to offset it, or something to happen to create some kind of sustainable mining, in which case lower power draw, but same gigahash, terahash, megahash of the machines.
Yeah.
It's what's interesting about new manufacturers, how they always manage to create something new that's way more efficient than what's already on the market. E.g. LoyalTech with the things they've come out with.
I think it's interesting to see the kind of technical advances we're seeing. So if you look at a GPU manufacturer, for example, they can only get like 30% boost every year, and I think ASIC miners have been growing actually quicker than that. Am I right?
Yes, sir. There's a lot of startup companies, but a lot of them flop based on their quality control. And with LoyalTech, they've been doing this for over 8 months, and they've had very little hiccups. Very little hiccups. So that's why my company took a very special interest in their expansion.
Yeah. There's a lot of, you got to do a lot of good R&D to make sure to ensure that your manufacturing processes are going good. So what do you think is in it for LoyalTech in the end? Are they going to be a big player in the FPGA game?
Yes, sir. In my full opinion, I think they're going to be one of the top 3 resellers. Their disruptive technology and their commitment on integrity is by far more substantial than other clients. I don't want to, say anything bad about the other partners that we have, but that's what stands alone with LoyalTech. Their warranty periods, their plans for the future, as well as the product that we are planning for the next generation.
Mm-hmm. What kind of
Again,
warranties do they give?
It's a 180-day warranty, just a basic one. We also offer extended warranty plans for larger minings and customization as well. That's the great part, and it's hand in hand. That's the thing. With other competitors, it's not a real personalized feeling, and that's where we're set apart.
Have you guys thought of doing anything in the European market as well? I know consumer law in Europe is quite tough sometimes. I think for a consumer, if the consumer buys your electronic goods, you actually have to offer 2 years of warranty, if I'm not mistaken. So that might,
Exactly
might cost a little bit of overhead. But you guys are looking into that as well?
Yes, of course. Just going to be increasing that in the margin.
Yeah. That's basically how it's going to go. Yeah.
Yep.
So if you're interested in talking to anybody overseas, you know who to call. I'm on the other side of the pond, so I have a lot of friends in Bitcoin. Obviously, there's not a lot of Bitcoin mining, but the nice thing I saw this year at Mining Disrupt, I actually saw a guy from the Netherlands, because the Netherlands, where I live, the power prices are crazy. We pay $40 cents per kilowatt currently. But what's interesting is there's a lot of companies that actually have to generate a lot of heat. For example, for greenhouse growing, stuff like that. In the winter, they need a lot of heat. Swimming pools need heating solutions. And I actually spoke to a guy from the Netherlands who has his company basically just makes heating elements from ASICs and resells them to swimming pools and greenhouse growing facilities, to ensure that they can get their heat and generate revenue in the same time. So that's I think it was quite interesting as a solution.
Very ingenuitive.
I think that has a lot of future in this world.
Of course.
So, one of our, I think we have another news article. Babel Finance loses 280 million, 8,000 Bitcoin of customer funds. So, they were, I think, trading. They got liquidated on the fact that Bitcoin fell and ETH fell as well, and they got liquidated with their customers' funds. I think this is something we're going to see, happening more and more often, actually, as the market swings up and down. I mean, basically, everybody's a pro in mining. In trading. As soon as the market keeps going up, everybody's all like, "Oh yeah, I invested $200 3 months ago, and now I have $400. I'm such a good trader." And then all of
Risk
a sudden,
management is the most important thing in this industry.
yeah, and
Can't
then
do
all
risk
of a sudden,
management as a miner, you can't do it.
yeah. Yeah, so as a trader, they go off on how good they are, but they forget that everybody is basically making money in a bull market. And then if
I
all of a
agree.
sudden, when the bottom falls out, then everybody's like, I'm just yeah, that's just what happens sometimes. They all of a sudden they learn very quickly that they're not as good as of a trader as they thought they were. But yeah. So what is one of you guys' worst trades, Phil? What's one of your worst trades? A coin that you really believed in the past?
Grin, and I still believe in it.
You still believe in it?
I appreciate that.
It's good to.
Yeah, I bought that one for the tech, and it's been pretty much down only. But yeah, it's still very good tech in my opinion.
In circulation, there's a lot of circulation. You got to do the macroeconomics before you invest in these project coins.
Yeah, that's important. That's important. I've been a solid believer of Nano for a long time. It is obviously a delegated proof of it's not actually a proof of stake. You don't stake anything, you don't win anything, but the validators run themselves, and it's basically been a stable coin for the last month. It's worth $1, but what I like about it is that I can just send someone in Africa 25 cents, and they'll get exactly 25 cents. No fees and stuff like that. So that's why it's kind of like,
Nice project.
It's a nice project. It's a nice, cheap way of sending someone far away a very small amount of money and them just getting it within a couple of seconds, which I think is nice. And obviously, they did better. They once were worth $34 and now only $1, but I still believe in it because, the tech is so simple. It's very easy to set up a validator, actually used to run a validator as well. And, I just think they're cool. I think, obviously they don't really disrupt anything, but I just think they're cool in what they do. And I think that's important. So Geoffrey, any coins that you invested in?
Heavy advocate in Litecoin. Any bad trades, really? Buying the top of Bitcoin, really, but very bullish.
Yeah.
Mathematically speaking, the supply, especially with people getting liquidated out. I also, bought into some security protocols like Zcash. That has never been a bad investment. That was actually a very stable project, in my opinion.
I think
tokens, security tokens. Yes.
Yeah. I think Monero and Zcash are the top of the line. Maybe I think Zcash's protocol is a little bit better, but I like the developers of Monero more. I like the fact that they have they are very open. Zcash was always a little bit more closed in my opinion, but they're both good projects to invest in. I think. What do you think about those, Phil? I was just reading a bit about zero knowledge proofs and stuff like that, and when I first read it a couple of years ago, it blew my mind. How that works. It's so the technology is so insanely advanced, I think.
Yeah, zero knowledge stuff is very cool, especially when applied to EVM, which I've got a new coin I'm a fan of tech-wise on that. But as far as the other ones go, I agree with both of y'all's analysis on ZK and Monero, but I have my own problems with them. Monero basically just being too large physically. It's kind of, I'm a fan of lightweight full nodes and nodes that validate blockchains quickly and easily. This is what provides the censorship resistance part of a blockchain, I think, is that you can't squash the full nodes. So Bitcoin is the best at this. You can run it off a Raspberry Pi, and then I would say it kind of goes downhill from there. But actually, Grin is one that can be run on a Raspberry Pi, and then it's the only blockchain that actually shrinks. So
And GPU mineable.
yeah, it is GPU mineable. So yeah, it'll have it's the only one I think that can stand toe to toe with Bitcoin as far as full node overhead goes. And then maybe the privacy isn't quite as good as either of those other two coins. But again, in engineering, all things are trade-offs. And so I think Grin is the one that gets us closest to a Bitcoin-like full node overhead while adding a decent amount of privacy. And not causing too many other issues. Like the zero knowledge one, I know they've added a turnstile to Zcash. So the most that could ever disappear in it is what's limited to inside the turnstile. If there's ever a problem, right, that's the most that could be pulled out. And then there's the developer tax too, which, I know people deserve to be paid for sure. But I just think it's kind of weird and leaves a bad taste in my mouth for something. Supposedly, all of these coins are supposed to be the next world reserve currency. And I have a very hard time taking, something as large as 10 or 20% off of every block. That basically means, so you're the next kingpin, right? Like, that's
Not at all.
But again, as these coins are small, like that's a lot. You kind of need that much percentage to have any sort of meaningful payment for the developers. But on the other hand, if it succeeds, then that's way, way, way too much.
Developer transparency is so important. I completely agree with you on that. But when it comes to privacy tokens, making sure that your information is actually, censored to a form where it's not just open ledgers similar to Solana, just open ledgers to be seen, transactions to be open seen. Obviously, they're the predecessors, and that's why the developers have been developing for years and making their product even stronger. That's why you see Lightning Network, which is Litecoin, completely come out with another hard fork for their security.
Yeah, I think they implemented the Mimblewimble as well, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
and
so
that is their privacy token, and that's why they got ripped off of South Korean exchanges because of transparency.
Oh, yeah.
Basically,
The South Korean exchanges don't like the privacy tokens because, it's I think privacy tokens are. Do you think they're going to be up for more regulations as well? Exchanges in according to privacy tokens.
Oh, of course, especially in European markets. They're coming down hard, especially the SEC anti-laundering laws. Come on, all day.
Yeah,
They have to be more transparent. Any thoughts, Cameron?
For privacy tokens, most of the time having that non-open ledger is the actual selling point for it. So you can see it probably going away from centralized exchanges and be more available on DEXs and being purchasable in that way. And then that being traded between people for transactions and for goods. Obviously we did talk about South Korea, and they have probably the largest integration of blockchain technology for real world cash. Not in the sense that, you can, I know Coinbase and others, you can withdraw it into your bank, but you can walk up to an ATM, scan your wallet and get cash out of an ATM machine. So having that integration, having that open ledger in those kind of areas makes sense. Whereas privacy, I'm going to see is going to be more between people and continue to stay on proof of work. I wouldn't imagine they would ever move to proof of stake. And for my worst investment was Bitcoin. It's actually probably the most amount of money I lost was on Bitcoin. Everything else I play the charts, and actually has always been in some kind of green.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I usually like to obviously I bought into Bitcoin when it was very very low, but I sold it very quickly as well. I just I was young and I was like, hey, I made $1,000. If I had those coins right now, I would have it could have paid off my house. But you never know about that. I think my worst trade is selling Bitcoin at $500 because I had some issues
And
with the tax agency. And right after I sold it, I think like 3 months later, it went through the roof. And been crying ever since. No, but to be honest, I have nothing to cry about. I'm doing very well. So very happy in life. So that's more important than having money. Obviously, money is nice to have, but yeah. Talking about money and a lot of people losing it. This is our latest article. It's the Solana crypto wallet hack. I think one of their crypto wallets was sending the private keys to to their wallets over to one of the developers, or
validator.
or the developer got hacked, which is
Well,
probably
yeah,
the case. But
we don't really quite know just yet, but it does appear to be probably something pretty negligent. And yeah, I mean, this is some of the saddest parts of crypto. Because for all of its faults, I will probably keep using MetaMask for quite a while, even though there's a lot of these other flashier, newer wallets, just because
Hell no.
because of things like this. Yeah, I mean, it's so hard to
Hell
trust
no.
a wallet, and it took. I didn't have even a Trezor or a Ledger for years because I didn't trust them. Versus making my own even paper wallets, right, with a fully offline computer, booted into a new copy of an operating system or something like that. And it's a real shame that everybody's just kind of gotten really really slack on crypto key security. And if it does turn out they were sending private keys over the internet, even if it was like encrypted, like, what are you doing?
yeah, yeah.
Stop. Stop making a crypto
Complete
wallet. You don't need to
negligence.
be in this space.
The only thing where you see me using a wallet on my mobile phone is basically when someone owes me money for a pizza or something like that.
Yeah.
If you want to
Yeah.
send me $20, that's fine. I'll make you a wallet because I don't have my ledger or whatever. I'll make you a wallet on my phone. You can send it there, and I'll send it off of that as soon as I'm home. But I'm not storing $100,000 on my wallet on my phone. That's crazy.
Yeah. And even this was probably mostly lots of small amounts, from people that was all that they had. And yeah.
It's sad. It's really sad. Yeah, I remember one of my friends in Singapore. She got scammed out of $40,000, and it wasn't obviously it wasn't a wallet hack or anything, but
Is she?
she was devastated, and I don't think she's gonna get back into crypto ever again. That's
Even if you're self
Leaves a
custody,
sour
you
taste in
still
people's
have to
mouth.
trust your wallet.
Never walk away.
yeah.
Exactly.
People, it leaves a bad taste in people's mouths, and that's what I hate about the rampant running of those scams as well. There are so many scams around, and people get scammed all the time, and I just feel bad for these people because they're not educated enough to keep their crypto
Also
safe.
understand.
Yeah,
And it's hard,
And
like, to
understand that
really
the
do it right.
data prices.
You would have to download some full node software, right? If you really want to make a secure crypto key as trustless as possible, you need to be using the official software, not a third party wallet of any kind, which isn't going to be, there's no mobile version of that. You'll be lucky if there's anything besides the command line version of that.
yeah.
You'll be lucky if there's a Windows version of that. And then that's basically, the best base crypto key generation you can get is off of those, and then you handle them yourselves. But of course, that's a real pain, and you lose all kinds of conveniences. So
Yeah, and people lose their keys as well. They yeah. I saw this story about a guy in on Reddit, and what happened was he had his ledger, 24-word ledger recovery phrase. He stuck it on the inside of a cupboard somewhere, and someone basically, I think a cleaner or something, found it, and he just figured out like 2 years later that his coins have been gone for already 6 months.
Oh.
So yeah, that's just sad, and I hope we can get something in the future where it's easier for people to secure their keys.
Transparency for people, yes.
Yeah, to secure their keys.
For security. Yep.
I used to make my own paper wallets, and then I would put them in a folder and take them to a bank. I had 2 copies of them in 2 different banks. Safety deposit boxes, and make sure the cameras can't see any QR codes on the way in. It was fun.
I mean, so what did you do? Did you cut the QR code in half and put one in one bank and one in the other bank?
No, it was redundant. You could have gotten the whole thing off of any of them.
Okay. Yeah, I would even be too paranoid for that, I think. I just cut it in half, cut the key in half, and put one in one deposit box, one in the other.
Well, then if you lose either half, you lost it all. So, I mean, this is kind of like storing data on a RAID array.
I mean, then you need 3. Then you need 3. Then you need 3 of them, right? And do a multi-sig.
True. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, guys, I think it's about time to wind down a bit and say our goodbyes, because it's been an hour now, and I want to thank you all for your time. So Geoffrey and Cameron, thank you for coming on the show. And
thank you for having us.
Thank you. It. Yeah, thank you for coming, for joining us in such a quick, notice. I asked Geoffrey an hour before we started if he wanted to join us, and he was okay with that. So thank you. I owe you one, and next time we meet, I'm paying for beers.
My friend, I appreciate it.
All right.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Thank you guys for watching and staying tuned.
And thank you too, Cameron.
Pleasure.
Yeah. So guys, if you like the podcast, like and subscribe. We'll see you guys next week. Thanks, everyone.
Cheers.
Cheers.